What actor will you always associate with that one role no matter how many others they do? The Rock with his role as The Rock. Don't forget his wisecracking sidekick Kevin Hart, played by Kevin Hart. I'm loud, small and annoying, Kevin Hart in all his movies. I'm big muscles, bald and doin' I thing, who am I? Jason Alexander as George Costanza. It's funny because Jason Alexander comes off as very refined and high-minded in interviews, but it just comes off as George Costanza trying to act classy or something. Jason Alexander was probably the most trained actor on the show and he played the part too well. He's also apparently a Broadway-trained singer and dancer. But to play George at times he had to sing off-key and move poorly. Yeah, he had to do another take of the Believe It or Not, George Isn't at Home song because his first one sounded too good. Where could I be? Believe it or not, I'm not who. Dwight Schrute. Sorry, Rainn Wilson. Just a quick edit, I've seen his films etc. and I think he is a really good diverse actor. Super is one of my favorite films. Edit again, I forgot about Backstrom. Very random, but I've always thought Rainn could do a killer Dr. Octopus if put in the right Spider-Man property. Maybe not live action, but I think he'd do phenomenal as a voice actor in one of the animated versions. He has a flair for cartoonish villainy that I'd like to see explored in other roles. 100% down for Doc Dwight. Leonard Nimoy as Spock. He wrote a memoir ages ago called I Am Not Spock to really show how the role followed him around and damaged the career he had envisioned afterward. Then a few years before he died he wrote another called I Am Spock, which embraced the effect it had on his life and how his participation in a sci-fi TV series affected people. Edit, as said below, it was about half as many ages ago, not a few years before he died. Time is fleeting. Small correction, he actually wrote I Am Spock in '95, long before he died. Actually I just realized it was almost exactly halfway between writing I Am Not Spock in '75 and dying in 15. Wow, I didn't realize it was that long ago. I'll leave my error so this follow-up makes more sense. Logic is the beginning of wisdom. Not the end. Alfonso Ribeiro as Carlton Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Bro that plays Jon Snow may as well legally change his name to Jon Snow because we're never going to stop calling him Jon Snow. Elijah Wood will always be Frodo to me. Sin City will fix that real quick. I was thinking the exact same thing. Him versus Marv is so good. He never screams. Not even when the Mutt's had its fill. Kevin's guts are lying all over the place and somehow the bastard is still alive, still staring at me. Not even when I grab the saw and finish the job, he never screams. Rowan Atkinson as Mr. Bean. Undoubtedly yes, but Blackadder is one of the finest TV shows ever made. The acting and jokes are on point. Blackadder is why I no longer associate Rowan Atkinson with Mr. Bean. He's shown great delivery in his other characters too. Ron Swanson, I know his name is Nick Offerman, but he'll always be Ron Swanson. Yes. I saw him in an ad for something else and he had no mustache and everything in the world felt wrong in that moment. He also did the most Ron Swanson ad of all time, a 45-minute ad for Lagavulin where he sits on a chair next to a fire and sips whiskey. He doesn't say a word for the entire runtime. U2.B. We still never talk sometimes. Best friend I ever had. Charlie Day as Charlie Kelly. Seeing him in Pacific Rim is always a trip. Every single one of the cast honestly. I was watching App Bio and honestly I can't unsee Dennis as Jack Griffin. Jack is basically just a more tame and competent version of Dennis. He's still doing a bunch of zany schemes and thinks he's better than everybody lol. The dude who played Napoleon Dynamite will always only be Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with babes all day. After 1 week with me in my dojo, you'll be prepared to defend yourself with the strength of a grizzly, the reflexes of a puma, and the wisdom of a man. You think anybody thinks I'm a failure because I go home to Starla at night? Forget about it. Now, for only $300, you can sign up right now. For my 8-week program. Jack Gleason as Joffrey Baratheon. Aaron Paul as Jesse Pinkman. Bitch. The guy who always plays a guy named Hector. Last chance to look at me, Hector. Ding 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 ding. Ha. McLovin. Are you talking about that 25-year-old Hawaiian organ donor? Sheldon Cooper as Sheldon Cooper. What do you mean he has a real name? He was a good human version of a Muppet in the Muppets. Emma Watson as Hermione. I feel like that about the main three. It's hard to see them as anyone but Hermione, Ron and Harry. Daniel Radcliffe has done so many interesting movies since then that I don't really just see him as Harry Potter now. I do love that he just gets to do what he wants now due to all the money from Harry Potter though. Radcliffe made the excellent career decision to get just ducking weird with it. He made all the money he'd ever need with the HP roles as a kid, now he's free to wear bear slippers with guns grafted to his hands or fart his way across an ocean without concern of commercial success. Radcliffe realized at some point that he had duck you money by the time he could drive, and decided he was going to do whatever the hell movies he wanted. I've never supported a decision more. Didn't he also play on Broadway for a while where he was naked on stage? Yep, a play called Equus. It involved horses. Matthew Gray Gubler as Spencer Reed. James Gandolfini Tony Soprano. Remember the time Tony Soprano told Elmo that he can't sleep without a nightlight? Tony Soprano told Elmo that he can't sleep without a nightlight. YouTube.com. This is brilliant. I wish I knew about it earlier. I have so much cognitive dissonance watching that, because I fully believe Gandolfini telling Zoe what Hess afraid of, but I'm also afraid for Zoe that she'll say something wrong and Tony's going to suddenly turn on her. Zoe, you never had the makings of a varsity athlete. That's very hurtful. Matt Smith is currently freaking me out on House of the Dragon. I'm uncomfortable watching Doctor Who use the C word. I saw the previews and I was like, why is Prince Philip eyeballing everyone under an angry brow? David Schwimmer. He's always just Ross. Basically ruined Band of Brothers for me. Lamau. I'm like, why is Ross an officer? Kelsey Grammer, Fraser Crane. However, I can't hear his voice and not think of Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. I love when Bart jumps on Cecil's back and says, guess who, Maurice? Frankie Muniz as Malcolm Wilkerson. You mean his last name wasn't in the middle? Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, and Christopher Reeve, Superman. Mark Hamill when he's on screen. But he definitely also sticks really strong as the Joker when voice acting. And Fire Lord Ozai. You're wearing no pants Avatar. John Krasinski as Jim Halpert. Watching him play Jack Ryan was really difficult to take seriously. I was waiting for him to look at the camera. Thanks for the 1,000 upvote, thank you all. I'm an analyst. I don't interrogate people. I write reports. Looks at camera. Looks like I'm old, Michael J. Fox, Marty McFly. Alex P. Keaton forever. David Duchovny, Mulder. Carrie Elwes, Wesley the Dread Pirate Roberts. Chris Hemsworth as Thor. And Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Every Chuck Palahniuk book I will ever read will forever be narrated by Edward Norton in my head. I am Jack's total lack of surprise.